An altar is not what you think. You know, if you grew up in the church and you've had that instilled in you, just the church's teachings, then you hear altar, in-home altar, and you cringe, right? You think it's not of God, the church wouldn't approve, but there's so much scripture to back it up that we should have a place in our home where we could be alone with God and where it's given that kind of attention and respect that's designated for your time with God. And yes, sure, Jesus came for everybody, and a lot of the Old Testament teachings were kind of simplified, or after Jesus came and died for us. But that doesn't take away the respect aspect of its origins. And altars were a place, were a holy of holies, the Old Testament, with the ark that was there, the 10 Commandments, and if people touched it, they would die. It was just an object that was powerful and had a lot of energy. Like God's energy was in it, that it was blessed. That whole area was powerful, which is hilarious when you think of how there's no power cannot be in items, and the churches will always frown. Oh, crystals, it's all bullshit. Crystals don't have any power. And then lo and behold, there's a lot of electricity that comes from crystals, and they've already proven a lot of that. So, and then of course there's Old Testament teachings where a bunch of things, a bunch of items had God's power on it. So again, when it comes back to an altar in your home, it really is that respectable place. And in the Catholic Church, that's not abnormal. They have places in their homes where it's like given some respect. And I decided to adopt that into my spirituality. And because it's not a sin to do that. Like, I was brought up to just be weary of all these things that are going to cause me to sin. And here my heart and intentions are pure and focused on God and how I could be closer to Him. But yet so much of how I was brought up would be like, no, you're sinning, you're welcoming evil spirits. It's unreal sometimes, but that's why the word deconstruct is so prevalent today. And not that it's not taken a huge detour and turn to its own thing, but I do understand a lot of it. So that being said, I'm going to share with you my altar in my home, my altar room, sunroom, library. It's so many different names. It's literally a spot where my family gravitates to, and they feel so comfortable. And that can't be just a coincidence. The room just eludes this energy that it's calming and welcoming. And everybody who's been in my home in this area says that without me even asking. It's just something that they feel automatically, which I love. And that's what I want. I want that kind of energy in my home. And I want that area where I could also go and pray and just align myself, realign myself. Meanwhile, kids are going crazy, but you know, it's focus. And so in a sense, I decorate the areas, I adorn it with things that are all focused and centered on God and my relationship with Him. And that is the key here. The focus is, are you aligned with God? Is that still your focus? Does it still point to God? And as long as the answer is yes, then I think you're okay. I'm going to be real. I'm not going to clean it up. This is literally how you'll see my altar room. Real and all. I've yet to put away those boxes of oil jars that I had to reorder. So I don't give a crap if that looks trashy. I am real with you guys. Always real. And really, it's not organized, but that's the beauty of it. There's devices, there's security. There's items all throughout my home in this area that mean so much to me, that have a history, that have a story behind it. Like that bus right there from London. That's a gift from an old childhood friend who went to study abroad in Oxford, and she brought this back to me. That gold thing is from an area where I grew up, where the gold mines were huge in California, and I got that when I was a little kid. It has little specks of gold in it. That, of course, is a Harry Potter egg from my favorite series. And of course, there's my mother. There are items, that being from my husband, and this, when I was a teenager, I went to Oregon for a family reunion vacation, literally minutes away from my future husband. And this was bought at Newport Beach, at a gallery there, because I looked at it and was amazed by the photography. All these little things have a story and tells a story. It provokes conversation. It just gives you that kind of relaxation and peace that you really want in a home. Like, I'll have family that will come and just sit down on the couch, and it's a beat up couch. It's nothing great. It's ghetto as fuck sometimes. There's cat food. There's my security stick. I have yet to vacuum the stupid door thing. That's life. I don't care how that looks either, because I get fucking cold sometimes and I want a little heater. So when I sit here and I pray, I will be praying right in front of that freaking heater, and I love it. It's amazing. But I also make room for my children, so they also feel welcome when they're here. I give them books and areas where they can just cozy up and also feel like this room holds something very special to them. Now over here is the area where they're not technically allowed to be, because this is where I would call my kind of holy area, where it's items that have a lot of energy that I'm working with. Those are some fresh products for some clients that I have. 2 clients are getting these for the month. Really, this room is just a place where you can gather and feel good. And I like to have that available to all my guests, even my family, all of us who live here. And it's a spot where you can realign yourself when you need to do that. And I will catch my kids in here, and I could tell that's what they're seeking. I would catch my husband in here laying on the couch, and I could tell he needs a moment, and that's beautiful to me. And I think everyone should have that in their home. So if you don't, I highly recommend finding a corner. It doesn't have to be a room. This is barely a room. This is an extension off of our kitchen, which is another spot we all gather, and it's warm and inviting. But it doesn't have to be a big spot. It could be a corner. It could be a chair. But I highly recommend surrounding yourself with items that are similar to all I just shared, because it truly is beneficial for the mind, for the body, for the soul. And a lot of people lack that these days. They don't have that area, that safe space that they could go to really refocus themselves. And it benefits the mental health, which is super important. And this is where I will go in the early morning when everyone's asleep. I'll come in here to pray at nighttime when the kids are asleep. I will come in here, light my prayer candles, and just meditate or just talk to God. Whatever I need to do, it serves the purpose of whatever healing I need to seek. And that's when you know you found your corner, your spot. So I highly recommend it. I hope this video was helpful. If you don't have one, if you do have one, I'd love to hear about it. You can leave it in the comments. Of course, I would appreciate a subscribe, follow, share, and I will of course see you in my next video.